The satisfying crack of Vanessa Sterling's palm against the black man's face echoed through the ballroom like a gunshot. His glasses flew 15 feet and shattered against the marble. Blood appeared at the corner of his mouth. "I said get your filthy hands off my champagne welfare boy." Her mother laughed. Her brother applauded. Her father, Senator William Sterling, didn't even look up from his phone. 300 tech billionaires raised their cameras. Vanessa's Instagram went live. 50,000 strangers watched a man in a cheap navy suit stand perfectly still while champagne dripped down his bleeding face. He didn't wipe the blood. He checked his watch and smiled. "Comment below which city you're watching from so I can see how far this story travels." The blood was still warm on Marcus Thompson's lip when Vanessa Sterling grabbed his tie and yanked him forward. "Are you deaf or just stupid? I asked who let you in here." Marcus said nothing. His left cheek was already swelling purple. Behind his shattered glasses, somewhere on the floor now, his dark eyes stayed fixed on hers. Steady, almost curious. That made her angrier. "Answer me, Vanessa." Her brother Richard appeared at her shoulder. "What's going on?" This delivery boy was touching the crystal. Put his dirty fingers right on the bottle I was reaching for. "I was getting a glass for someone." "Oh, it speaks." Vanessa laughed and turned to the gathering crowd. "Did everyone hear that the help thinks he can drink our champagne?" Richard circled Marcus slowly. Navy suit, no label, scuffed shoes, basic watch. "Sir, the service entrance is around back. Whatever catering company you work for, they're probably wondering where you disappeared to." "I don't work for catering." "Then what exactly are you doing at a $50,000 a plate event?" From across the ballroom, a small voice cut through the murmur. "Daddy?" Marcus's head turned sharply. A young girl, maybe 11-12, stood frozen by the dessert table. Brown skin, natural hair in 2 puffs, a pink dress that was clearly her Sunday best. "Maya, stay there, baby." Vanessa's eyes went wide with theatrical shock. "Oh my God! He brought a child to help him steal." She whipped out her phone. "I'm absolutely going live with this. You guys, this is insane." "I didn't come to steal anything." "Then why are you here?" "My daughter wanted to see the Young Innovators presentation. She's interested in coding." Richard snorted. "The Young Innovators presentation is for children of our guests, actual donors, not—" He gestured at Marcus's suit with disgust. "Whatever this is. I have an invitation." "Sure you do." "Check your list." Richard snapped his fingers at a passing staff member. "You, pull up guest registration. Name, Marcus Thompson." The woman tapped her tablet. Her face went pale. "Sir, he's on the list. Paid in full." Vanessa grabbed the tablet. "That's impossible. Look at him." Registration shows a Marcus D. Thompson, Oakland address. Payment processed 3 weeks ago. So he scraped together the money. Vanessa thrust the tablet back. "That doesn't mean he belongs here. There's a difference between buying your way in and actually earning your place." Her Instagram had hit 80,000 viewers. The comments were scrolling fast. "Throw him out. Check his pockets. Why do these people think they belong everywhere?" And then the slurs started appearing. Vanessa didn't moderate them. Marcus's daughter Maya had started crying silently by the dessert table. An older woman, one of the few who looked uncomfortable, moved toward her, but Catherine Sterling got there first. "Don't touch that child." Catherine's voice cracked like a whip. "God knows what diseases she's carrying." Maya flinched like she'd been hit. Something shifted in Marcus's eyes. "Don't." His voice was quiet. "Don't talk to my daughter." "Excuse me." "You can say whatever you want to me, but you do not speak to my child." Catherine Sterling laughed. At 67, she had ruled Silicon Valley society for 3 decades. No one told her what to do. Certainly not some gatecrasher in a Men's Warehouse suit. "Richard, call security. I want both of them removed immediately. And check the girl's pockets. She's been standing near the silver." "My daughter hasn't stolen anything." "We'll see about that." Marcus turned to look at Maya. Tears were streaming down her face. Her pink dress, the one she'd begged him to buy for her birthday, had a chocolate stain on the sleeve now where someone had bumped her. She was 12 years old, and she was learning exactly what the world thought of her. "Baby girl," Marcus's voice was soft. "Look at me." Maya's eyes met his. "Remember what Mama used to say?" Maya nodded, her lip trembling. "Dignity. Dignity isn't something people give you." "That's right. It's something you carry, no matter what." He held her gaze. "Go stand by the door. Don't move. Don't speak to anyone. Can you do that for me?" Maya wiped her eyes and walked toward the exit with her head high. Even at 12, she had her father's spine. Senator William Sterling finally looked up from his phone. "What's all this commotion?" "Daddy." Vanessa immediately pivoted to her father, her voice dripping with manufactured distress. "This man crashed our gala. He was touching the champagne, and when I asked him to leave, he became aggressive." "Aggressive?" Marcus touched his bleeding lip. "Your daughter slapped me." "You were reaching for her." "I was picking up a napkin." The senator studied Marcus with cold political eyes. 40 years in the Senate had taught him to read people instantly. This one was different. Too calm. Too still. "Do you have identification?" Marcus produced his wallet slowly. "California driver's license. Oakland address." "And what exactly do you do, Mr. Thompson?" "I run a small business." "What kind?" "Defense technology." Richard burst out laughing. "Defense technology, really? Let me guess, you fix drones for Amazon." Something like that. Vanessa's live stream had hit 120,000 viewers. She was narrating like a sports commentator. "Oh my God, you guys. He's claiming to be in defense tech. I literally can't. The delusion is real." Her phone buzzed, then again, then continuously. She glanced at it. Sterling Tech's PR director. 17 missed calls. Weird. She declined them and kept filming. Senator Sterling's phone was also buzzing. He frowned and answered. "Yes, I'm in the middle of something." "What?" His face changed. "What do you mean, what did we do? I'm at my daughter's gala. I haven't..." He listened for 10 seconds, 20. His face went gray. That's not possible." His voice cracked. "Are you absolutely certain? Because I'm looking at him right now and..." He listened again. The phone slipped from his hand and clattered to the marble floor. "William?" Catherine rushed to her husband. "What is it? What's wrong?" The senator was staring at Marcus like he'd seen a ghost. "That was the Secretary of Defense." "What?" "He's watching our daughter's live stream." The senator's voice was barely audible. "He wants to know why his top military AI contractor is bleeding on camera." Silence crashed through the ballroom like a physical force. Vanessa's laugh was nervous brittle. "That's insane! That's completely..." "His name is Marcus Thompson." The senator couldn't look away from the man in the cheap navy suit. "He's the founder and CEO of Titan Defense Systems. He's worth $4.7 billion. He holds contracts with the Pentagon, NATO, and 6 allied nations." Richard made a strangled sound. "He's also..." The senator continued, his voice cracking. "The primary subcontractor for every military AI system Sterling Tech delivers to the federal government." Catherine's knees gave out. Richard caught her before she hit the floor. 52%. Marcus spoke for the first time since the senator's phone call. "That's how much of your company's revenue flows through my contracts. $1.2 billion annually." Vanessa's phone was still recording. 156,000 viewers watched her face crumble in real time. "No, no, no, no. You're lying. You have to be lying. Look at you." Marcus wiped the blood from his lip with his thumb. He looked at it thoughtfully. "My wife bought me this suit." His voice was soft. 3 months before she died. Ovarian cancer. She made me promise to wear it to important events. He looked at Vanessa. "She wanted me to remember that clothes don't make the man." Catherine was sobbing now. "We didn't know. How could we possibly know?" You couldn't. Marcus nodded slowly. That's the point. You couldn't know. So you treated me like trash because you assumed. You slapped me, humiliated me, called my daughter diseased, all because you looked at us and decided we didn't belong. He walked over to Maya, who was still standing by the door with tears drying on her cheeks. He knelt down and gently brushed a tear away. You okay, baby girl? I want to go home, Daddy. I know, soon. He stood and turned back to face the Sterlings. The entire ballroom had gone silent. 300 of Silicon Valley's most powerful people stood frozen watching. Here's what's going to happen. Marcus's voice carried easily in the silence. Tomorrow morning, my legal team will begin reviewing every contract between Titan Defense Systems and Sterling Tech Industries. Richard stepped forward, desperation cracking his voice. Marcus, Mr. Thompson, please let's discuss this privately. I'm sure we can. Page 34 of our agreement. Marcus continued as if Richard hadn't spoken. Morality clause. Quote, Contractor agrees that executives and immediate family members will conduct themselves in a manner consistent with ethical standards expected of defense industry partners. Senator Sterling had gone completely white. Page 41. Family conduct standards. Public behavior that brings disrepute upon defense. Contracting relationships constitutes grounds for immediate termination. Those clauses are never enforced, Richard stammered. They're standard boilerplate. Nobody actually... Page 58. Marcus pulled out his phone and held it up. Vanessa's live stream was still running, the frame frozen on the moment of the slap. Termination for cause. Penalty $890 million. The number hung in the air like a death sentence. Your daughter assaulted me on video in front of 160,000 witnesses. Your wife called my child diseased. Your son accused me of theft. Your father, a sitting United States senator, stood by and watched. Marcus's voice never rose above conversational level. By tomorrow morning, this video will have been seen by millions. Every news outlet in the country will be running it. Vanessa's phone finally died, but the recording was already everywhere. Marcus took Maya's hand. 6 a.m. tomorrow, your corporate headquarters. All 4 of you. No lawyers, no PR people. He looked at each Sterling in turn. Just your family and me. And then what? Catherine's voice was barely a whisper. Marcus didn't answer immediately. He looked down at his daughter, 12 years old, chocolate stain on her birthday. Dress tears dried on her cheeks. And then, he said quietly, you're going to learn what real power looks like. He walked toward the exit. Maya's small hand gripped his tightly. At the door, he paused. One more thing. The Sterlings held their breath. If my daughter had been alone tonight, if I hadn't been standing right there, what would you have done to her? Nobody answered. Nobody could. Marcus pushed through the doors and disappeared into the night with Maya at his side. Behind them, the Sterling Empire had already begun to crumble, and the nightmare was just beginning. The drive home took 47 minutes. Maya didn't speak for the first 30. Marcus kept both hands on the wheel, eyes fixed on the highway, giving her space. His cheek throbbed where Vanessa's hand had connected. The blood on his lip had dried into a dark crust. Daddy. Yeah, baby girl. Why didn't you tell them who you were? Marcus was quiet for a moment. The highway lights strobed across the windshield in rhythmic flashes. Would it have mattered? They would have treated you different. Exactly. He glanced at her in the rearview mirror. They would have treated me different because of my money, not because I'm a human being who deserves respect. Maya chewed on that for a while. That lady said I had diseases. Marcus's hands tightened on the wheel until his knuckles went pale. She was wrong. She didn't even know me. She just looked at me and decided I was dirty. Some people see skin color before they see anything else, Maya. It's not right. It's not fair. But it's real. Is that why Mama always said dignity isn't something people give you? Marcus's throat closed up. 4 years since Angela died, and hearing Maya quote her still hit like a freight train. Yeah, baby. That's exactly why. I tried to remember when that lady was talking about me. Maya's voice was small but steady. I kept saying it in my head, over and over. Dignity isn't something people give you. Dignity isn't something people give you. Marcus pulled the car to the shoulder and stopped. He turned around to face his daughter fully. Come here. Maya unbuckled and climbed into the front seat, curling against her father's chest. He held her tight, feeling her small body shake with the tears she'd been holding back. I'm so sorry, baby girl. I never should have taken you there. It's not your fault, Daddy. I wanted you to see that world, to know you could be part of it someday. His voice cracked. I didn't expect. You didn't expect them to be so mean. No, I didn't. Maya pulled back and looked at her father's swollen face. She touched his cheek gently. Does it hurt? A little. Are you going to make them pay? The question hung in the air. Marcus studied his daughter's face, so much of Angela in her eyes in the set of her jaw. What do you think I should do? I think. Maya considered carefully. I think Mama would say hurting people back just makes more hurt. She would say that. But she would also say that people who do wrong things should face consequences. Marcus almost smiled. When did you get so smart? I learned from you and Mama. He kissed her forehead. Let's go home. Grandma's probably worried sick. They pulled back onto the highway. Maya stayed in the front seat, buckled in beside her father. Daddy. Yeah. Those people, the Sterlings, they're going to lose everything, aren't they? Marcus didn't answer for a long time. That depends on them, he finally said. It depends on what kind of people they really are. When they got home, Marcus's mother Evelyn was waiting on the porch. At 73, she still had the sharp eyes that had helped her survive raising 4 children alone in East Oakland during the crack epidemic. She took one look at Marcus's face, and her expression hardened to stone. Who? It's a long story, Mama. I got time. Maya ran up the steps and into her grandmother's arms. Grandma, it was awful. This lady slapped Daddy and called me diseased and... Slow down, baby girl, slow down. Evelyn stroked Maya's hair while her eyes stayed locked on her son. Marcus, inside, now. The kitchen smelled like the sweet potato pie Evelyn had made for Maya's return. Marcus sat at the table while his mother examined his face with clinical efficiency. This needs ice. I know. And you need to tell me what happened. So he did. All of it. The champagne, the slap, the accusations, the live stream. Maya standing alone with tears running down her face, while a society woman called her diseased. Evelyn listened without interrupting. When he finished, she was quiet for a long moment. Your father would have burned that building to the ground. I know. Your father also died at 44 from a heart attack brought on by rage and stress. Marcus looked at his mother. What are you saying? I'm saying that revenge is a poison you drink, hoping the other person dies. She took his hands in hers. You've got a choice to make, baby. You can destroy those people. Lord knows they deserve it. But what does that teach Maya? It teaches her that actions have consequences. It can also teach her that power is for crushing people beneath your heel. Evelyn squeezed his hands. Is that the lesson you want her to learn? Marcus's phone had been buzzing non-stop since they left the gala. He finally looked at it. 247 missed calls. Emails flooding in faster than he could count. Text messages from Pentagon officials, board members, journalists, lawyers. And one voicemail from a number he didn't recognize. He played it on speaker. Mr. Thompson, this is Richard Sterling. I know you have no reason to listen to this message, but I'm begging you. Please, I have 3 children. My youngest is 6. If our company goes under, if those contracts are canceled, 15,000 people lose their jobs. Their families lose their homes. Their kids lose their futures. I know what my family did was unforgivable. I'm not asking you to forgive us. I'm asking you to give us a chance to make it right, please. I'll do anything. Just... Please call me back." The message ended. Evelyn raised an eyebrow. "That man sounds scared." "He should be." "What are you going to do?" Marcus stared at his phone. The screen showed news alerts already popping up. Videotech CEO assault at Gala. Sterling family faces backlash. Billionaire humiliated on livestream. "I'm going to make them choose." "Choose what? Who they really want to be." He stood up and kissed his mother on the forehead. "Don't wait up. I've got a long night ahead." His home office was on the third floor. Angela had designed it floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Oakland Hills, her favorite reading chair in the corner, the artwork she'd collected from black artists across the country, covering every wall. Marcus sat at his desk and began to work. For the next 6 hours he pulled every thread, every contract, every financial connection, every favor owed, every leverage point earned over 15 years of building an empire. The Sterlings thought they were powerful. They had no idea. Catherine Sterling's charity foundation, the one that bore her husband's name, the one that had given her 3 decades of social dominance, existed because of anonymous donations. Donor number 1 on every tax filing. $180 million over 8 years. All from Marcus. He'd never told anyone. It was Angela's idea back when they were first starting to make real money. "Give back quietly," she'd said. "Don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing." He could end that foundation with a phone call. 200 employees would lose their jobs. 3 hospitals would lose funding. A dozen scholarship students would see their educations evaporate. Richard Sterling's career was even more exposed. Sterling Tech Industries pulled in $2.3 billion annually. But 52% of that $1.2 billion flowed through contracts with Titan Defense Systems. Every military AI system Sterling delivered to the government ran on Marcus's architecture. One signature and those contracts disappeared. Stock price would crater within days. The board would revolt within weeks. Bankruptcy proceedings by spring. Senator William Sterling had built his entire political career on defense industry connections, his committee appointments, his campaign contributions, his influence in Washington. All of it tied to the military-industrial complex that Marcus now dominated. One formal complaint about discrimination against a defense contractor would trigger security clearance reviews. The military base in his state, 18,000 civilian jobs, operated under Titan's contract. Marcus could shut it down and blame the senator's conduct. Career over, legacy destroyed, political dynasty ended. And Vanessa Sterling, the woman who'd slapped him, who'd live-streamed his humiliation, who'd let racial slurs flood her comments without moderation. Her entire lifestyle was a house of cards. Her influencer career depended on luxury brand partnerships. Marcus's investment firm owned controlling stakes in 6 of her top 10 sponsors. Her Manhattan penthouse was mortgaged through a bank where he sat on the board. Her daughter's private school tuition came from a scholarship fund his foundation administered. He could erase her existence with a few phone calls. Marcus leaned back in his chair and stared at the ceiling. He had the power to destroy 4 lives completely, to reduce the Sterling family to cautionary tales, to object lessons in what happens when privilege meets reality. But Maya's words kept echoing in his head. Mama would say hurting people back just makes more hurt. And then, but people who do wrong things should face consequences. Both things could be true. At 3 a.m. his phone rang. Private number. "Thompson. Mr. Thompson, this is Senator Sterling." The voice was hollow, exhausted. "I know it's late. I know I have no right to call, but I need to speak with you. You have 60 seconds. I've been in politics for 40 years. I've survived scandals, investigations, elections that everyone said I'd lose. I've always found a way." The senator's voice cracked. "But I don't know how to survive this. And I'm not just talking about my career." "What are you talking about?" "My daughter hasn't stopped crying since you left. My son is on his 3rd bottle of scotch. My wife took a sedative and still can't sleep." The senator paused. "We watched your daughter tonight, standing there in her little pink dress, crying. And we did that to her." Marcus said nothing. I have 5 grandchildren. The youngest is 4. His name is William after me. The senator's voice broke completely. I keep thinking about him. About what kind of world I'm leaving him. About what he'll think when he's old enough to understand what his grandfather did tonight. What do you want from me, Senator? I want to know if there's any path forward. Any way to make this right. Not for me. I'll accept whatever consequences you decide. But for the people who work for our company. For the soldiers who depend on our systems. For my grandchildren who don't deserve to carry this shame. Marcus was quiet for a long moment. 6 a.m. Your corporate headquarters. Don't be late. He hung up. At 4 a.m. he called his own mother. Marcus, baby, what's wrong? Nothing's wrong, Mama. I just needed to hear your voice. It's 4 in the morning. I know. I'm sorry. Evelyn was quiet for a moment. You made a decision. I think so. Is it the right one? I don't know. Marcus looked at the files spread across his desk. 4 lives dissected and analyzed. 4 futures hanging by threads he controlled. Angela would know. She always knew. Angela loved you because you had a good heart, Marcus. A heart that wanted to build things, not burn them down. Some things deserve to burn. Maybe, but you have to live with the ashes. His mother's voice was gentle. Whatever you decide, baby, make sure you can look Maya in the eye afterward. Make sure you can look at yourself in the mirror. That's all that matters. At 5 a.m., Marcus showered, changed into a fresh suit, not the one Angela gave him that one needed dry cleaning now, and went to check on Maya. She was asleep, but not peacefully. Her face was troubled, her small hands clenched into fists, even in dreams. He sat on the edge of her bed and watched her breathe. 12 years old. Already learning that the world could be cruel and unfair. Already learning that people would judge her for things she couldn't control. What lesson did he want to teach her? That power was for crushing your enemies, or that power was for building a better world? He leaned down and kissed her forehead gently. I love you, baby girl. Maya stirred but didn't wake. Marcus stood and walked out into the pre-dawn darkness. He had a meeting to attend. The Sterling Tech corporate headquarters occupied a 40-story tower in downtown San Francisco. At 5:45 a.m., the building was mostly empty. Security had been instructed to let Marcus through without question. He rode the elevator to the top floor alone. The conference room had floor-to-ceiling windows facing east. The sun was just starting to paint the sky orange and pink over the bay. At 5:58 a.m., the door opened. The Sterlings filed in like prisoners approaching sentencing. Catherine looked like she'd aged 10 years overnight. Her makeup couldn't hide the dark circles under her eyes or the tremor in her hands. Richard was gray-faced. His expensive suit wrinkled his eyes, bloodshot from alcohol and sleeplessness. Senator Sterling walked with his silver cane, but no longer had the commanding posture Marcus had seen at the gala. He moved like a man carrying an invisible weight. And Vanessa. Vanessa had clearly been crying for hours. Her perfect makeup was gone. Her designer clothes had been replaced by simple black. She looked young, vulnerable, human. They sat on one side of the conference table. Marcus sat on the other. Nobody spoke for a full minute. Finally, Marcus opened his leather portfolio. Let me tell you about my wife. The Sterlings exchanged confused glances. Angela Marie Thompson, born in Compton, raised by a single mother who worked 3 jobs. Graduated valedictorian of her high school, full scholarship to MIT, PhD in computer science from Stanford. He pulled out a photograph. Angela laughing, holding newborn Maya in the hospital. She was the smartest person I ever met. She designed the core algorithms that power every AI system my company produces. Without her, Titan Defense Systems doesn't exist. He set the photo on the table. She was also the kindest person I ever met. When we started making real money, the first thing she wanted to do was give it away. Quietly. Anonymously. She believed that wealth was a responsibility, not a privilege. Catherine made a small sound. Mrs. Sterling, your foundation, the Hamilton Sterling Charitable Trust. Marcus looked at her directly. My wife set up the anonymous donation structure. $180 million over 8 years. She chose your foundation because your husband's cancer research initiative reminded her of her own mother who died of breast cancer when Angela was 16. Catherine's hand flew to her mouth. She never wanted recognition. She just wanted to help. Marcus's voice was steady. She died 4 years ago. Ovarian cancer. 8 months from diagnosis to death. Maya was 8 years old. The room was absolutely silent. Last night, your family assaulted me, humiliated my daughter, broadcast our degradation to hundreds of thousands of people, and let racist comments flood your platform without moderation. Marcus's eyes moved from face to face. You did this in front of my 12-year-old girl, on a night when she just wanted to see a coding presentation. Vanessa started crying again. Quiet, shaking sobs. I have the power to destroy all of you. Completely. Your company, your foundation, your political career, your influencer empire. I can end all of it with a few phone calls. Marcus tapped the portfolio. I spent all night preparing exactly how to do it. Richard leaned forward. Mr. Thompson, Marcus, please. There has to be another way. I'll resign. I'll make a public statement. I'll do whatever you want. Just please don't punish 15,000 employees for what my family did. Your employees. Marcus nodded slowly. That's what kept me up all night. 15,000 people who had nothing to do with what happened. Their families, their children, their mortgages and college funds and retirement plans. He closed the portfolio. My wife would never forgive me if I destroyed innocent people to punish guilty ones. A collective exhale of relief started around the table. However, the relief died instantly. My daughter would never forgive me if I let guilty people escape consequences entirely. Marcus stood and walked to the window. The sun was fully up now, flooding the conference room with golden light. So here's what's going to happen. And let me be clear, these are not negotiations. These are terms. You will accept them, or you will face the alternative. He turned to face them. Mrs. Sterling, you will record a public video apology, not a written statement, a video where everyone can see your face admitting exactly what you said about my daughter. You will resign from 3 charity boards of my choosing. You will donate $10 million to the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. And you will spend the next year, 1 full year, volunteering at an Oakland community center serving children who look like Maya. Catherine nodded frantically. Yes, of course. Anything. Richard Sterling, you will implement mandatory unconscious bias training for every employee at Sterling Tech. You will promote 3 qualified Black executives to C-suite positions within 90 days, and I will be vetting those candidates personally to ensure they're not tokens. You will publish quarterly diversity reports with full transparency, and you will personally mentor 5 young Black entrepreneurs through a program I will establish. Richard's voice shook. I accept. All of it. Senator Sterling, you will testify before Congress in support of expanded anti-discrimination legislation, and I will be reviewing your testimony beforehand. You will return your campaign contributions from defense contractors to civil rights organizations. You will co-sponsor 3 equality bills in the next session, and you will use your influence to establish federal grants for STEM education in underserved communities. The senator straightened slightly. I can do that. I will do that. Marcus turned finally to Vanessa. She looked up at him with red-rimmed eyes. The arrogant influencer from the Gala was gone. In her place was a woman confronting the ugliest parts of herself. What do you want from me? Her voice was barely above a whisper. I want you to delete every piece of content from last night. Already done. I deleted everything at 3 a.m. I want you to record a public apology, not the kind influencers give when they're caught, not the fake tears and the I'm learning and growing nonsense. A real apology, specific, taking full responsibility. I will. I want you to spend 1 full year promoting exclusively minority-owned businesses on your platform. Not 1 post, not 1 week, 1 year. Every single piece of content. Vanessa nodded. And I want you to donate 100% of your influencer earnings during that year to a fund for minority entrepreneurs, with public accounting so everyone can verify it. She hesitated. That's over $4 million. Yes, it is. Vanessa looked down at her hands. When she looked up, something had changed in her eyes. I'll do it. All of it. She paused. Can I say something? Marcus waited. I've been thinking all night about why I did what I did. Why I slapped you. Why I said those things. Why I let those comments stay up. Her voice broke. And I realized, I didn't even see you as human. I looked at you and I saw a category, a type, something less than me. She wiped her eyes. I don't know when I became that person. I don't know when I started believing that money and followers made me better than other people. But somewhere along the way, I lost something. Something important. She met Marcus's eyes directly. Your daughter, Maya. She's 12 years old. My daughter is 7. Her voice cracked completely. I keep thinking about what I would do if someone talked to my daughter the way my mother talked to yours. How I would feel. What I would want to do to them. She stood up slowly. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I know I don't deserve it. But I want you to know, I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying to become someone my daughter can be proud of. Someone who sees people. Really sees them. Not categories or types or net worth calculations. She took a shaky breath. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. For all of it. The room was silent. Marcus looked at Vanessa Sterling for a long moment. Then he reached into his jacket and pulled out his phone. My daughter couldn't sleep last night. She kept having nightmares about what your mother said to her. He turned the phone screen toward them. She wrote this at 4 a.m. and asked me to read it. The screen showed a notes app with Maya's handwriting font. Dear God, please help the people who were mean tonight. They seem really angry and sad inside. Mama always said hurt people hurt people. So maybe they're hurting and don't know how to stop. Please help me forgive them like Mama would want. And please help Daddy know what to do. Love, Maya. Catherine broke down completely. Deep racking sobs that shook her entire body. Richard put his head in his hands. Senator Sterling wiped his eyes with a handkerchief, his political composure finally shattered. Vanessa stared at the screen, tears streaming silently down her face. My daughter prayed for you. Marcus's voice was thick. She prayed for the people who humiliated her, because her mother taught her that forgiveness is not about letting people off the hook. It's about refusing to let anger poison your own soul. He put the phone away. I'm not doing this for you. I'm not even doing this for the 15,000 employees who would suffer if I destroyed your company. He looked at each of them in turn. I'm doing this for Maya, because I want her to grow up in a world where people can change, where making a terrible mistake doesn't mean you're a terrible person forever, where redemption is possible if you're willing to earn it. He walked to the door. My legal team will deliver detailed compliance documents within 48 hours. Every requirement will have specific deadlines and verification processes. Miss any deadline and the alternative goes into immediate effect. He paused with his hand on the doorknob. One more thing. The Sterlings held their breath. 6 months from now, I'm going to bring Maya back to San Francisco. She's going to attend another tech event, one where she belongs, where she's welcomed, where people see her as a brilliant young girl with unlimited potential instead of a category to be dismissed. He looked back at them. And you're going to be there. All 4 of you. You're going to look her in the eye and tell her what you've learned, what you've changed, what you've built. He opened the door. Don't make me regret giving you this chance. Marcus Thompson walked out of Sterling Tech headquarters as the morning sun blazed over San Francisco Bay. Behind him, 4 people sat in silence, contemplating the wreckage of who they had been and the possibility of who they might become. The longest night was over, but the real work was just beginning. The news broke before Marcus even got home. His phone exploded with notifications as he sat in the back of his car. CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, BBC. Every major outlet had picked up the story. The headlines scrolled past faster than he could read them. Tech heiress slaps billionaire at Gala doesn't know who he is. Sterling family humiliates defense mogul on live stream. Watch the moment. A $5 billion man was called welfare trash. Video goes viral. Black CEO's daughter called diseased by society matriarch. His publicist had called 37 times. His board members had sent emergency meeting requests. 3 senators wanted to express their support. The Secretary of Defense had texted personally, "Marcus, whatever you need, name it." He ignored all of it. When he walked through his front door, Maya was sitting at the kitchen table with a bowl of cereal she hadn't touched. Evelyn stood at the stove pretending to cook, watching her granddaughter with worried eyes. "Daddy!" Maya jumped up and ran to him. "I saw the news. It's everywhere. Everyone at school is texting me." Marcus knelt down to her level. "How are you feeling, baby girl?" "I don't know." Maya's face was a complicated mix of emotions. "Some kids are saying you're a hero. Some are saying mean things about us. Jalen Parker said his mom said the Sterlings got what they deserved." "What do you think?" Maya chewed her lip. I think I'm glad you didn't destroy them, even though part of me wanted you to." Marcus pulled her into a hug. "That's called being human, baby. Having 2 feelings at once, wanting justice and wanting mercy. Both things can be true. Is it over now?" "No." He pulled back and looked at her seriously. "It's just beginning. The Sterlings have a lot of work to do, and people are going to be watching them and us very closely for a while." Evelyn set down her spatula. "You need to eat something, both of you, and then you need to sleep, Marcus. You've been up all night." "Can't sleep yet, Mama. I've got calls to make." "The calls can wait." "No, they really can't." He kissed Maya's forehead and headed upstairs to his office. The first call was to his board of directors. "Marcus, thank God." Patricia Okonkwo, his chief operating officer, answered on the first ring. "We've been trying to reach you for hours. The media is going insane. Our PR team is drowning. What do you want us to say?" "Nothing." "Nothing, Marcus. Every news outlet in the country wants a statement. We can't just..." "We can and we will. I'm not interested in winning the news cycle, Patricia. I'm interested in winning the next 10 years. "What does that mean?" "It means the Sterlings are going to be making a lot of changes, real changes. And when they do, I want Titan defense systems to be seen as part of the solution, not part of the pile-on." Patricia was quiet for a moment. "You're playing a longer game." "I'm always playing a longer game. Issue a brief statement saying we're aware of the incident, we've addressed it privately with the Sterling family, and we believe in the power of accountability and growth. Nothing more. The press will go crazy wanting details. Let them. Mystery is more powerful than spectacle." He hung up and made his next call. General Morrison answered immediately. "Marcus, I watched the video. The whole Pentagon watched the video. What that family did to you and your daughter was unconscionable." "I appreciate that, General." "What do you need? I can have congressional hearings open by next week. Ethics investigations. Security clearance reviews. Say the word, and the Sterlings will never do business with the federal government again." "I don't need that." "You don't?" The general sounded confused. "Marcus, they assaulted you on camera. They humiliated your child. They let racist comments flood a public live stream. This is exactly the kind of behavior our conduct policies are designed to prevent. And I've already addressed it, directly. The Sterling family has agreed to a comprehensive set of requirements. If they comply, I see no reason to involve the federal government. If they comply, and if they don't, then I'll handle that too, privately." General Morrison was silent for a long moment. "You know, Marcus, most people in your position would want blood. Would want the whole world to see their enemies destroyed. I'm not most people, General. And the Sterlings aren't my enemies. They're my partners, for better or worse. Destroying them destroys 15,000 jobs, disrupts critical defense programs, and teaches my daughter that vengeance matters more than justice." You're a better man than most. I'm a father, that's all. I'm trying to build a world my daughter can be proud to inherit." He ended the call and sat back in his chair. Through the window, he could see Maya in the backyard, throwing a ball for their dog. She was laughing. Whatever weight she'd been carrying seemed lighter in the sunshine. His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Mr. Thompson, this is Vanessa Sterling. I know you said no contact until the compliance documents arrived, but I need to tell you something. Can I call you, please? It's about your daughter." Marcus stared at the message for a long moment. Then he typed back, 5 minutes. His phone rang immediately. "Thank you for answering." Vanessa's voice was hoarse, like she'd been crying for hours. "I know I have no right to ask anything of you, but I couldn't wait. What about my daughter? I've been reading the comments, on every platform. Since the video went viral, people have been posting horrible things, not just about my family, about Maya too. Screenshots, memes, people making fun of her dress, her hair, her crying." Vanessa's voice cracked. "She's 12 years old, and strangers are mocking her on the internet because of what I did." Marcus's hand tightened on the phone. "I know I can't undo what happened, but I have contacts at every major platform. People who owe me favors. I've spent the last 4 hours getting content removed, getting accounts flagged, getting the worst of it taken down." She took a shaky breath. "I can't stop all of it, but I can make it better, and I won't stop until Maya can search her own name without seeing herself being humiliated." Marcus didn't respond immediately. He watched Maya through the window, still playing with the dog, still laughing. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because I want you to know that I'm not waiting for the compliance documents to start. I'm starting now, today, this minute." Vanessa's voice hardened with something that sounded almost like determination. "What I did to your daughter was evil. I don't have a better word for it. And I'm going to spend however long it takes making sure she never has to relive it again." "Words are easy, Ms. Sterling." "I know. That's why I'm not asking you to believe me. I'm asking you to watch me. Watch what I do, not what I say. Actions over words. That's the only way I can prove anything." Marcus was quiet for a long moment. "My daughter prayed for you last night." "I know. You showed us." Vanessa's voice broke again. "I've read her prayer probably 50 times since then. Every time I want to feel sorry for myself, I read it again. Hurt people hurt people. A 12-year-old understood something about me that I've never understood about myself. What's that? That I've been hurting for a long time, and I've been taking it out on everyone around me without even knowing it." She paused. "I'm not making excuses. There's no excuse for what I did. But I'm starting to understand why I did it. And that's the first step to making sure I never do it again." Marcus made a decision. "Ms. Sterling." "Yes." "There's a community center in Oakland, the East Side Youth Development Center. They run after-school programs for kids in underserved neighborhoods, tutoring, mentoring, college prep." "Okay. They're always looking for volunteers, people who can teach kids about media, about building online presence, about using technology for good instead of harm." "Are you asking me to?" "I'm telling you that actions matter more than words. You want to prove you've changed. Don't do it for cameras. Don't do it for your followers. Do it in a room full of kids who have never heard your name and don't care about your net worth." Vanessa was silent. "The director's name is Mrs. Robinson. She's been running that center for 30 years. She doesn't take any nonsense, and she doesn't care who your family is. If you show up and you're not genuine, she'll see through you in 10 seconds. I'll be there tomorrow. We'll see." He hung up. The next 72 hours were chaos. Catherine Sterling's video apology was released at noon the following day. She sat alone in a simple room, no makeup, no jewelry, wearing plain clothes that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent, but at least showed she was trying. 3 nights ago, I called a 12-year-old girl diseased. I said it loudly, publicly, in front of hundreds of witnesses and hundreds of thousands of viewers. I said it because she was black, Because she was standing near the silver. Because I looked at her and saw a threat instead of a child. Her voice shook but didn't break. There is no excuse for what I said. There is no context that makes it acceptable. I am 67 years old, and I have spent my entire life believing that my money and my social position made me better than other people. I was wrong. I was catastrophically, shamefully wrong. She looked directly at the camera. To Maya Thompson, I am so deeply sorry. You came to that gala excited to see a coding presentation. You wore your best dress. You stood by the dessert table waiting for your father. And I attacked you for existing. A 12-year-old girl. I attacked a 12-year-old girl because of the color of her skin. She paused to compose herself. I am resigning from the boards of 3 charitable organizations effective immediately. I am donating $10 million to the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, and I am committing to 1 full year of volunteer service at an Oakland community center working with children just like Maya. Not because I was told to, because I need to learn, I need to change, and I need to earn back even a fraction of my humanity. The video ended. Within hours, it had 40 million views. The reactions were mixed. Some people called it sincere. Others called it damage control. Some demanded more. Others said it was a start. Marcus watched the video once and moved on. Richard Sterling's reforms at Sterling Tech began immediately. The unconscious bias training was scheduled. Vendors were contracted, curriculum was developed. Announcements went out to all 15,000 employees explaining what had happened and what was changing. This is not optional, Richard wrote in his company-wide email. This is not performative. Our family's behavior at that gala was a stain on everything this company stands for. We will do better. We must do better. And if anyone is uncomfortable with that commitment, you are free to seek employment elsewhere. The response surprised everyone. 93% of employees supported the new initiatives. Internal surveys showed that many had experienced or witnessed discrimination themselves and were relieved to see leadership finally acknowledging the problem. 3 executives resigned in protest. Richard let them go without comment. Senator Sterling's first act was to co-sponsor a bill he'd previously opposed, the Workplace Dignity Act, which expanded protections against discrimination in hiring, promotion, and public conduct. I spent 40 years believing that market forces and personal responsibility were sufficient to address inequality, he said in a speech on the Senate floor. I was wrong. I witnessed inequality. I participated in it. I enabled it. And until 3 nights ago, I never understood what it felt like to be on the receiving end. His colleagues were skeptical. The press was cynical. Polling showed his approval dropping in some demographics while rising in others. He didn't seem to care. And Vanessa Sterling showed up at the East Side Youth Development Center the next morning at 8 a.m. Mrs. Robinson was 71 years old and had survived things Vanessa couldn't imagine. She looked the young socialite up and down with eyes that missed nothing. You the one from the video? Yes, ma'am. You the one who slapped that man? Yes, ma'am. You know I don't care who your daddy is. Yes, ma'am. Mr. Thompson told me. Mrs. Robinson grunted. At least you can follow instructions. Come on. You're helping with breakfast prep. For the next 3 hours, Vanessa chopped vegetables, washed dishes, and served oatmeal to 47 children aged 6 to 14. None of them knew who she was. None of them cared about her follower count. They just wanted seconds on toast. At noon, Mrs. Robinson found her scrubbing a pot in the back kitchen. You're still here. You didn't tell me to leave. Most people like you leave after an hour. Say they have appointments. Say they'll be back next week. Never see them again. Vanessa kept scrubbing. I'm not most people. Mrs. Robinson watched her for a moment. That man, Thompson, what made him send you here? I think. Vanessa set down the pot and looked at the older woman. I think he wanted me to see something, to understand something I've never understood. What's that? That these kids... She gestured toward the main room where children were playing and laughing and doing homework. They're not statistics. They're not a cause. They're just kids. Kids who want the same things every kid wants. Safety. Love. Someone who believes in them. Mrs. Robinson studied her face carefully. His wife used to come here. Vanessa froze. What? Angela Thompson, before she got sick. She'd come here every Saturday, help with the science program. She never told anyone her name, never told anyone her husband was a billionaire. Just showed up, rolled up her sleeves, and worked. Vanessa felt tears prick her eyes. That man didn't send you here to punish you. Mrs. Robinson's voice softened slightly. He sent you here because this is where his wife learned to love, and he's hoping you can learn the same thing. Vanessa couldn't speak. Now finish that pot. The afternoon kids will be here soon, and we need to prep for snack time. She finished the pot, and she came back the next day, and the next, and the next. 2 weeks after the gala, Marcus got a call from an unexpected source. Mr. Thompson, this is Michael Harrison, Deputy Secretary of Defense. Deputy Secretary, what can I do for you? I was hoping I could take you to dinner. There's something I'd like to discuss with you, privately. They met at a quiet restaurant in D.C. 3 days later. Harrison was a tall man in his early 50s, with the bearing of someone who'd spent decades in military and government service. I've been watching the Sterling situation, Harrison said after they'd ordered. The whole Pentagon has. Most people expected you to destroy them. A lot of people wanted you to destroy them. I know. But you didn't. You gave them a chance to change, and from what I'm seeing, they're actually taking it. Harrison leaned forward. That's not how things usually work in this town, Mr. Thompson. Usually when someone has leverage, they use it. They crush their opponents and move on. You did something different. I have a daughter to think about. I want her to grow up believing that people can change, that redemption is possible. Harrison nodded slowly. I had a daughter too. She passed away 3 years ago. Cancer. I'm sorry. She was 23, just starting her career. Had her whole life ahead of her. Harrison's voice thickened. After she died, I threw myself into work. It was the only way I could cope. The only way I could feel like I was still contributing something to the world. He met Marcus's eyes. But watching you these past 2 weeks, seeing how you handled this situation, it reminded me of something Sarah used to say. She was a social worker, worked with troubled kids. She used to say that the hardest thing in the world wasn't punishing people who did wrong. It was helping them become people who could do right. Marcus was quiet. I'm not asking you for anything, Mr. Thompson. I just wanted you to know that what you did matters. Not just to the Sterlings, not just to your daughter, but to people like me who've forgotten that grace is possible. They finished their dinner talking about daughters, about loss, about the strange ways grief can transform into purpose. At the end of the meal, Harrison stood and shook Marcus's hand. If you ever need anything, anything at all, you call me directly. Not my office. Me. I appreciate that. And Mr. Thompson? Yes. Your wife would be proud of you. I never met her, but from everything I've heard, she would be proud. Marcus drove back to his hotel alone. He sat in the parking lot for a long time, looking at his phone. Angela's contact was still saved. He'd never been able to delete it. He opened their message thread. The last text she'd ever sent him 3 days before she died. Take care of our girl. Teach her to be strong and kind. Strong enough to stand up for herself. Kind enough to lift others up. I love you both forever. A. He typed a message he knew would never be delivered. I'm trying, baby. Every day. I'm trying. He sent it anyway. Then he drove home to Oakland, where his daughter was waiting, where his mother was cooking dinner, where the work of building a better world continued one day at a time. The reckoning was complete. But the transformation had only just begun. 3 months felt like 3 years. Marcus stood at his office window watching the Oakland skyline as his phone buzzed with the weekly progress report from his legal team. Every requirement met. Every deadline hit. The Sterlings weren't just complying, they were exceeding expectations. But numbers on a spreadsheet couldn't capture what was really happening. His phone rang. Maya's school. "Mr. Thompson, this is Principal Hernandez. I'm calling about Maya." His heart seized. "Is she okay? What happened?" "She's fine, Mr. Thompson. More than fine, actually. I'm calling because something remarkable happened today, and I thought you'd want to know." "Tell me." "There's a new student in Maya's class. A girl named Sophie. Her family just moved from Mississippi. She's been having a hard time adjusting different accent, different background. Kids can be cruel about that sort of thing." Marcus waited. Today at lunch, some students were making fun of Sophie's accent, calling her names. Maya stood up in the middle of the cafeteria and told them to stop. When they didn't, she sat down next to Sophie and started eating with her. Didn't say anything dramatic, just sat with her. Made her feel less alone. Marcus closed his eyes. Angela's voice echoed in his memory. Strong enough to stand up for herself. Kind enough to lift others up. The other kids stopped after that. A few of them even apologized. But here's what I really wanted to tell you. Principal Hernandez's voice warmed. When I asked Maya why she did it, she said, "Because I know what it feels like to have everyone looking at you like you don't belong. And I know what it feels like when someone chooses to see you anyway." Marcus couldn't speak for a moment. "You're raising an extraordinary young woman, Mr. Thompson. Her mother gets the credit for that. I think you both do." That night, Marcus took Maya out for ice cream. Just the two of them, like they used to do when Angela was alive. "Principal Hernandez called me today." Maya's spoon froze halfway to her mouth. "Am I in trouble?" "No, baby girl, you're not in trouble." He smiled. "She told me what you did for Sophie." Maya shrugged, suddenly shy. "It wasn't a big deal." "It was a big deal to Sophie. I remembered how I felt at the gala. When everyone was staring at me. When that lady said those things." Maya stirred her ice cream slowly. "I kept wishing someone would just come stand next to me. Just one person who didn't think I was garbage. And no one did. No one did. So I decided I would be that person for someone else." Marcus reached across the table and squeezed her hand. "Your mama is smiling right now. Wherever she is, she's smiling so big." Maya's eyes glistened. "You think so?" "I know so." The next morning, Marcus received an unexpected visitor at his office. "Sir, there's a Vanessa Sterling here to see you. She doesn't have an appointment, but she says it's important." Marcus hesitated. Then, "Send her in." Vanessa looked different. 3 months of working at the community center had changed something in her. The designer clothes were gone, replaced by simple jeans and a plain blouse. Her hair was pulled back in a practical ponytail. She wore no makeup. But the biggest change was in her eyes. The brittle arrogance had been replaced by something softer, something more human. "Thank you for seeing me. I know I shouldn't be here without going through your legal team first." "What do you want, Ms. Sterling?" "I want to show you something." She pulled out her phone. "I've been documenting everything at the center. Not for social media. Mrs. Robinson would kill me, but for myself. To remember why I'm doing this." She handed him the phone. On the screen was a video. Vanessa sat on a small chair surrounded by children aged 7 to 10. She was teaching them about online safety, how to recognize scams, how to protect their personal information, how to be smart about what they shared. The kids were engaged, asking questions, laughing at her jokes. One little girl was sitting on Vanessa's lap playing with her hair. "That's Destiny," Vanessa said softly. "She's 8. Her mom works 3 jobs. She's at the center from 6 a.m. until 7 p.m. most days. When I first started, she wouldn't talk to anyone, wouldn't make eye contact. Mrs. Robinson said she'd been like that for months." Marcus watched the video. Destiny was smiling, laughing, completely comfortable in Vanessa's arms. It took 6 weeks. 6 weeks of showing up every day, sitting near her without pushing, just being present. Then one day she climbed into my lap during story time and fell asleep. Vanessa's voice cracked. No one's ever trusted me like that. Not because of my money, or my followers, or my family name, just because I showed up. Marcus handed the phone back. Why are you telling me this? Because I need you to know that I'm not doing this for the compliance documents anymore. I'm not doing it because I'm afraid of what you'll do if I stop. She met his eyes directly. I'm doing it because those kids need me, and because I need them. They're teaching me how to be human again. And what do you want from me? Nothing. Vanessa shook her head. I don't want anything. I just wanted you to see. I wanted you to know that what you did giving me a chance instead of destroying me, it worked. Not because of fear. Because of transformation. She stood to leave. Ms. Sterling? She turned. My wife used to volunteer at that center, before she got sick. I know. Mrs. Robinson told me. Vanessa's voice softened. She also told me that Angela used to say every child deserves someone who believes in them. Someone who shows up not because they have to, but because they want to. That sounds like her. I'm trying to be that person now. For Destiny. For all of them. She paused at the door. I know I can never undo what I did to Maya, but maybe I can make sure no other child feels the way she felt that night. She left. Marcus sat alone in his office for a long time thinking about transformation. About the strange ways people could change when given the chance. His phone buzzed. A text from Richard Sterling. The diversity report is ready for your review. 3 black executives promoted to C-suite as agreed. Dr. Patricia Williams is our new Chief Innovation Officer. Marcus Johnson is CFO. Angela Thompson is COO. I named her after your wife. I hope that's okay. Marcus stared at the message. Angela Thompson, COO of Sterling Tech Industries. He typed back, it's more than okay. 2 weeks later, the news broke about Senator Sterling's legislation. The Workplace Dignity Act passed the Senate with bipartisan support, something that hadn't happened on a civil rights bill in over a decade. Senator Sterling's floor speech was carried live on every major network. 3 months ago, I stood in a ballroom and watched my family humiliate a man and his daughter because of the color of their skin. I stood there and did nothing. Worse than nothing, I participated. I enabled. I was complicit. His voice echoed through the chamber. That man had every right to destroy us. He had the power, the leverage, the justification. Any court in this country would have sided with him. Any jury would have awarded him everything we had. He paused. Instead, he gave us a choice. Destruction or transformation, vengeance or redemption. And he made that choice not for himself, but for his 12-year-old daughter, because he wanted her to grow up believing that people can change, that making a terrible mistake doesn't make you a terrible person forever. Senator Sterling looked directly at the camera. I have spent 40 years in this chamber. I have passed hundreds of bills, fought thousands of battles, made countless speeches about American values. But I have never understood what those values really meant until a man in a $500 suit taught me with his silence. This bill is not enough. No bill will ever be enough to address the centuries of injustice that brought us to this moment. But it is a start, a beginning, a first step toward becoming the nation we claim to be. The vote was 73 to 27. Marcus watched the coverage at home with Maya and Evelyn. Grandma, Maya said, is that the same man who pointed his cane at Daddy? Yes, baby, that's him. He seems different now. People can change, Maya. Marcus put his arm around her. When they really want to. When someone gives them the chance. Like the Sterlings. Like the Sterlings. Maya was quiet for a moment. Daddy, do you think Mama would have forgiven them? Marcus thought about Angela. About her fierce love. Her stubborn belief in human goodness. Her absolute refusal to let bitterness poison her heart. I think Mama would have done exactly what we did. Give them a chance, hold them accountable, and hope for the best. I miss her. I miss her too, baby girl. Every day. But I think she's still here, in the things we do, in the way we treat people. Maya looked up at her father. When I helped Sophie at school, it felt like Mama was helping me know what to say. Marcus pulled her close. That's because the people we love never really leave us. They live on in the choices we make, the kindness we show, the courage we find when we need it most. Evelyn wiped her eyes quietly. Your Mama would be so proud of both of you, she said. So proud. The fourth month brought an unexpected development. Catherine Sterling requested a private meeting with Marcus. Not at Sterling Tech, not at a restaurant, at the East Side Youth Development Center. Marcus agreed. When he arrived, Catherine was in the back room sorting donated books with a group of elderly volunteers. She looked smaller somehow. The Imperious Society matriarch had been replaced by something gentler, more fragile, more real. Mr. Thompson, thank you for coming. Mrs. Sterling. She led him to a quiet corner. I've been coming here for 3 months now, every day. At first I thought I was doing it because you required it, because I had no choice. She folded her hands in her lap. But something happened, something I didn't expect. What's that? I started caring. Her voice wavered. Really caring. About these children. About their futures. About whether they have enough food at home, whether their parents are working too many jobs, whether anyone is reading to them at night. She looked at him with tears in her eyes. I've spent 30 years on charity boards. I've raised hundreds of millions of dollars. I've been photographed at galas and praised in magazines and celebrated as a philanthropist. But I never once actually knew the people I was supposed to be helping. I never sat with them, never listened to their stories, never saw them as anything other than abstracts, statistics, causes. And now I know their names. I know Destiny's mother works at a grocery store and a laundromat and cleans houses on weekends. I know Marcus Jr. Yes, there's a boy here named Marcus wants to be an astronaut but doesn't have a telescope. I know Jasmine's grandmother is raising her because her parents are both in prison. She wiped her eyes. I know them, as people, as human beings with dreams and struggles and fears, and I can never go back to not knowing. Marcus was quiet. I also know that your wife started the after-school science program here, that she bought that telescope Marcus Jr. uses every Thursday night, that she created the college prep curriculum that sent 12 kids to university in the last 5 years. You've been doing your research. Mrs. Robinson told me. She tells me a lot about Angela. Catherine met his eyes. She was the woman I should have been, the woman I could have been if I hadn't been so busy being important. What do you want from me? Mrs. Sterling, I want to continue, after the year is up, after my obligation is finished. She straightened slightly. I want to take over funding for the programs Angela started. I want to expand them, double them, make sure every child in this neighborhood has access to what she built. That's a significant commitment. It's the only commitment that matters anymore. She paused. I'm 70 years old, Mr. Thompson. My husband is dead. My children are grown. My grandchildren barely know me because I was always too busy with galas and board meetings to attend their soccer games. Her voice broke. I have maybe 10-15 years left, and I don't want to spend them being important. I want to spend them being useful, being present, being the kind of person who actually deserves to be called a philanthropist. Marcus studied her face. The tears were real. The regret was genuine. The transformation was undeniable. My wife used to say that the measure of a person isn't what they do when the world is watching. It's what they do when no one's keeping score. I'm not doing this for redemption. I'm not doing this to make up for what I said to Maya. Nothing can make up for that. Catherine shook her head. I'm doing this because these children need someone, and because I finally understand that I need them too. She stood slowly. Will you let me continue after the year is up? Will you let me honor Angela's memory by carrying on her work? Marcus thought about his wife, about her radical belief in human potential, About the time she'd told him that forgiveness wasn't about letting people off the hook. It was about refusing to let their worst moments define them forever. Mrs. Sterling. Yes. Angela had a rule. Anyone who wanted to help at the center had to pass Mrs. Robinson's test. If she approved, they were in. If not, they were out. I know, Mrs. Robinson told me. What did she say about you? Catherine's eyes glistened. She said I was one of the hardest workers she'd ever seen. She said I reminded her of Angela. She said... Her voice failed. She said Angela would have been proud to work beside me. Marcus felt something release in his chest, a knot he hadn't known he was carrying. Then I don't need to say anything else. Catherine broke down completely. Silent sobs shook her shoulders as decades of carefully maintained composure finally crumbled. Marcus did something he never expected to do. He took her hand. My wife believed that every person has good in them, even when they've done terrible things. Even when they've hurt people they should have protected. She believed that given the chance, the real chance, not the performance, people could become better versions of themselves. He squeezed her hand gently. I didn't give you that chance for your sake. I gave it for hers, because she would have wanted me to, because she would have seen in you what she saw in everyone, the possibility of transformation. Catherine looked up at him through her tears. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for what I said to Maya, for what I did to you, for who I was that night. I know. I'll never forgive myself. Then use that. Let it fuel you. Let it drive you to be better every single day for the rest of your life. Marcus released her hand. That's what my wife would have told you. Don't waste your guilt on regret. Transform it into action. Catherine nodded slowly. Thank you, Mr. Thompson. For everything. For the chance. For the choice. For believing I could be different. Don't thank me yet. The real work is just beginning. He left her in the community center, surrounded by donated books and children's laughter, and the quiet legacy of a woman who had believed in the goodness of strangers. That night, Marcus added another entry to his journal, the one he'd started keeping after Angela died, writing letters to her that she'd never read. They're changing, baby. All of them. Not perfectly, not all at once, but genuinely. You would have been amazed to see it. You would have said I told you so in that smug way you had when you were right about people. And you were always right about people. Always. He paused, pen hovering over the page. Maya is thriving. She's becoming everything you hoped she'd be. Strong and kind, fierce and forgiving. She stood up for a girl at school the other day. Just sat down next to her when no one else would. She said she learned it from you. From us. From who we tried to be. He closed his eyes. I miss you every day. But I feel you in everything we do. In every choice we make. In every act of grace we manage to find within ourselves. The Sterlings aren't our enemies anymore. I'm not sure they ever were. They were just people who got lost. People who forgot how to see other people as human. And now they're finding their way back. He finished the entry with the words he'd written every night for 4 years. I love you forever, Angela. Thank you for teaching me how to be the man Maya needs. The man you always believed I could be. He closed the journal and turned off the light. Outside his window, Oakland sparkled in the darkness, a city of struggle and hope, of pain and possibility, of people trying their best to become better than their worst moments. The transformation was real. And the hardest part was yet to come. 6 months to the day. Marcus stood in front of his bathroom mirror, adjusting the same navy suit Angela had given him. The dry cleaners had worked miracles. The champagne stains were gone, the fabric pressed crisp and clean. Maya appeared in the doorway. You're wearing that suit again. It's my lucky suit. Daddy, last time you wore it, someone slapped you in the face. Marcus laughed. A real laugh from somewhere deep in his chest. Fair point. But today's going to be different. Maya walked over and straightened his tie with the serious concentration of a 12-year-old who'd watched her mother do the same thing 1,000 times. Are you nervous? A little? Me too. She smoothed down his lapel. What if they haven't really changed? What if it was all fake? Marcus knelt down to her level. Remember what Mama used to say about people? That everyone's fighting a battle we can't see. That's one of them. But there's another one. He took her hands. She used to say that the truest measure of change isn't what people say, or even what they do when they know you're watching. It's who they become when they think no one's keeping score. And you think the Sterlings have changed? Really changed? I think we're about to find out. Evelyn appeared behind Maya. Car's here. You two ready? Maya took a deep breath. Ready. Marcus took her hand. Let's go. The San Francisco Tech Summit was bigger than the Gala had been. 3,000 attendees instead of 300. Press from around the world. The biggest names in technology, defense, and government all gathered under one roof. And this time, Marcus Thompson wasn't arriving quietly. The car pulled up to the red carpet entrance. Cameras flashed before they even opened the door. Remember, Marcus said to Maya, head high, shoulders back. Dignity isn't something people give you. Maya finished. I know, Daddy. I've got this. She did. They stepped out together, father and daughter, and walked the red carpet with the quiet confidence of people who knew exactly who they were and didn't need anyone's approval to prove it. Reporters shouted questions from behind the barriers. Mr. Thompson, Mr. Thompson, how does it feel to be back at a tech event after what happened? Maya, do you have anything to say to the Sterlings? Marcus kept walking. Maya matched his pace perfectly. But just before they reached the entrance, Maya stopped. She turned toward the reporters. I have something to say. The crowd went silent. Marcus's heart nearly stopped. Maya stepped toward the microphones with a poise that seemed impossible for a 12-year-old. 6 months ago, some people hurt me and my dad really badly. They said terrible things. They made us feel like we didn't belong. Her voice was steady, clear, carrying across the silent crowd. I was really angry for a long time. I wanted them to feel as bad as they made me feel. She paused. But my mama, before she died, she taught me something. She taught me that holding on to anger is like drinking poison and hoping the other person gets sick. She taught me that the bravest thing you can do isn't hitting back. It's choosing to believe that people can be better. Cameras clicked frantically. I don't know if the Sterlings have really changed. I guess we'll find out today. But I hope they have, because that would mean my dad was right to give them a chance. And it would mean my mama was right about people. She looked directly at the cameras. She was usually right about people. Then she took her father's hand and walked inside without looking back. Marcus couldn't speak for a full minute. Where did that come from? He finally managed. Maya shrugged. I've been practicing. Grandma helped. You didn't tell me you were going to do that. I know. She smiled up at him. Surprise. The main hall was transformed. 6 months ago, this had been the site of Marcus's humiliation. Today, it would be something else entirely. They found their seats near the front. The program listed the Young Innovators presentation as the third event of the day, the same presentation Maya had wanted to see 6 months ago. Mr. Thompson. Marcus turned. Richard Sterling stood in the aisle looking like a different man. Gone was the arrogant corporate executive who'd called Marcus a delivery boy. In his place was someone humbler, more uncertain, more human. Richard. I wanted to thank you for coming, for giving us this chance to... He trailed off. I'm not sure what the right word is. Prove. To prove that we've changed, yes. Richard swallowed hard. I also wanted to introduce you to someone. He gestured behind him. A tall black woman in an elegant suit stepped forward. Mr. Thompson, this is Dr. Angela Thompson, our new Chief Operating Officer. She's been leading our diversity initiatives for the past 4 months. Marcus stood and shook her hand. Dr. Thompson. Mr. Thompson, it's an honor to finally meet you. Her handshake was firm, confident. I want you to know that what you did giving us a chance to transform, instead of just destroying us, it's made a real difference, not just for the company. For people like me who never thought we'd have a seat at tables like this. You earned that seat yourself. I earned the opportunity. You created it. She smiled. I named my daughter Maya, by the way. I hope that's okay. Marcus felt his throat tighten. It's more than okay. Richard excused himself, and Marcus sat back down with his own Maya. She named her daughter after me, Maya whispered. Apparently so. That's weird, but cool weird. Very cool weird. The lights dimmed. The first presentation began. An hour later, Senator Sterling took the stage. He looked older than he had 6 months ago. The political polish was still there, but underneath it was something rawer, something more honest. Good morning. Before I introduce our next speaker, I need to say something. Something that should have been said 6 months ago in front of this same community. The hall went silent. My family committed an act of profound cruelty at the Sterling Tech Gala last spring. We assaulted a man physically. We attacked his daughter verbally. We broadcast our hatred to hundreds of thousands of people and allowed racist vitriol to flood our platforms without moderation. He gripped the podium. I could make excuses. I could talk about how we didn't know who he was. But that's exactly the point. We didn't know. And because we didn't know, we assumed the worst about a man and his child based solely on how they looked. His voice cracked slightly. That man, Marcus Thompson, had every right to destroy us. He had the power, the leverage, the moral authority. Instead, he gave us a choice: destruction or transformation, vengeance or redemption. He looked directly at Marcus. Mr. Thompson, I will never be able to repay what you did for my family. But I can tell you this, we have tried every single day for 6 months to become worthy of the chance you gave us. And we will continue trying for the rest of our lives. He straightened. Now it is my profound honor to introduce the keynote speaker for today's Young Innovators presentation. She is 13 years old. She has just completed a groundbreaking science fair project on artificial intelligence applications in medical diagnostics. She is without question one of the most impressive young minds I have ever encountered. Maya's eyes went wide. Please welcome to the stage, Maya Thompson. The hall erupted in applause. Maya sat frozen. Daddy! Her voice was tiny. What's happening? Marcus was crying. He couldn't help it. Tears streamed down his face as he squeezed his daughter's hand. Go up there, baby girl. This is your moment. I didn't prepare anything. I don't have a speech. You don't need a speech. You just need to be yourself. He kissed her forehead. Your mama is watching. I promise you she's watching. Now go show the world who Maya Thompson really is. Maya stood on shaking legs. The applause grew louder as she walked toward the stage. 3,000 people, billionaires, politicians, tech giants, stood and clapped for a 12-year-old girl in a pink dress. The same pink dress she'd worn 6 months ago. The one with the chocolate stain that had finally been cleaned. She climbed the stairs. Senator Sterling offered his hand to help her up. She took it without hesitation. At the podium, she looked out at the sea of faces. The lights were blinding. The moment was overwhelming. Then she found her father in the crowd. He nodded once, smiled through his tears, and Maya began to speak. Hi. Her voice was small at first, swallowed by the massive hall. I didn't know I was going to be up here today. My dad didn't tell me. She shot him a look. We're going to have a conversation about that later. Laughter rippled through the crowd. The tension broke. But since I'm here, I guess I'll tell you about my project. It's about using AI to help doctors find cancer earlier. I started working on it after my mom died. Her voice wavered but held. She had ovarian cancer. By the time they found it, it was too late. She died 8 months later. The hall was absolutely silent. I was 8 years old. I didn't understand why the doctors couldn't save her. I kept asking my dad, why didn't they find it sooner? Why didn't they know? And he didn't have a good answer, because there wasn't one. She gripped the podium. So I decided I would find one. I started reading about cancer detection, about how AI could analyze medical images faster and more accurately than humans, about how early detection is the difference between life and death for millions of people. My project uses machine learning to analyze CT scans for early signs of ovarian cancer. It's not perfect yet. I'm only 13 now. I had a birthday. She smiled slightly. But in my tests it caught tumors that doctors missed. Small ones, early ones, the kind that killed my mom. A murmur ran through the crowd. I'm not telling you this because I think I'm special. I'm telling you because I want you to know why I care about technology. It's not about money or fame or being the next big thing. It's about saving lives. It's about making sure other kids don't have to lose their moms the way I lost mine. She looked at the Sterlings seated together in the front row. 6 months ago, your family hurt me and my dad really badly. Mrs. Sterling, you called me diseased. Ms. Sterling, you slapped my father and live-streamed it to the world. Mr. Sterling, you called him a delivery boy. Senator Sterling, you stood there and let it happen. The Sterlings sat motionless, faces pale. But then something changed. My dad gave you a choice, and you chose to be different. You chose to try to be better. Maya's voice strengthened. Mrs. Sterling, you've been at my mom's community center every day for 6 months. Ms. Sterling, you taught my friend Destiny how to use the internet safely. Mr. Sterling, you promoted people who look like me to run your company. Senator Sterling, you passed laws that will protect kids like me from what happened to us. She paused. I don't know if I forgive you yet. Forgiveness is hard. My dad says it's not something you decide once, it's something you choose every day. But I can tell you this. I'm grateful. I'm grateful that you proved my dad right, that you proved my mama right, that people can change if someone believes in them enough to give them a chance. She looked back at Marcus. My mom used to say that the world doesn't need more angry people. It needs more people brave enough to believe in each other, brave enough to see the good in people even when they've done bad things, brave enough to build instead of burn. Her voice rang out across the hall. That's what I want to do with my life. Build things. Build technology that saves lives. Build bridges between people who think they're different. Build a world where no little girl ever has to stand in a ballroom feeling like she doesn't belong. She straightened to her full height. My name is Maya Thompson. I'm 13 years old. My mama is dead and my daddy is a billionaire, and 6 months ago I was called diseased by a woman who didn't know my name. But I'm still here. I'm still standing, and I'm still building. Because that's what Thompsons do. We build. She stepped back from the podium. The silence lasted 1 heartbeat. 2. Then the hall exploded. 3,000 people leaped to their feet. The applause was deafening, thunderous, overwhelming. People were crying. People were cheering. People were hugging strangers next to them. Marcus couldn't see through his tears. He could only hear his heart pounding and the roar of the crowd, and somewhere in the noise, his wife's voice whispering, I told you so. Maya walked off the stage and directly into her father's arms. Did I do okay? Baby girl. Marcus held her so tight he was afraid he might break her. You did more than okay. You did everything. You did everything. They stood there, father and daughter, while 3,000 people applauded around them, and cameras flashed and reporters shouted questions that would never be answered. None of it mattered. The only thing that mattered was this moment, this embrace, this proof that love was stronger than hate, that hope was stronger than fear, that the human capacity for transformation was limitless when fueled by grace. After the presentation, Catherine Sterling approached them. Her face was wet with tears. Maya, her voice broke. I don't have the right to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Maya looked at her steadily. You are the most extraordinary young woman I have ever met. What you said up there about building instead of burning, I'm going to carry those words with me for the rest of my life. She took a shaky breath. Your mother would be so proud, so incredibly proud. Maya was quiet for a moment. Then she did something no one expected. She hugged Catherine Sterling. The older woman froze, then collapsed into the embrace, sobbing openly. 2 generations, 2 worlds, 2 histories of pain and privilege meeting in a single moment of impossible grace. "Thank you," Catherine whispered. "Thank you for letting me try again." "That's what Thompsons do," Maya said simply. "We give people chances." That evening, Marcus took Maya to the Oakland cemetery where Angela was buried. They sat on the bench facing her headstone as the sun set over the bay. Angela Marie Thompson, 1978-2022. Beloved wife, mother and dreamer. Build the world you want to see. "Hi, Mama." Maya's voice was soft. "A lot happened today. I gave a speech in front of 3,000 people. I didn't even know I was going to do it until they called my name." She leaned against her father's shoulder. "I think you would have been proud. I talked about you, about your cancer research project, about how I want to save other kids' moms." She paused. "I also talked about forgiveness, about how you taught me that it's braver to build than to burn." Marcus put his arm around her. "The Sterlings were there, all of them. They've been working really hard to be different. Mrs. Sterling volunteers at your community center every day. Can you believe that the lady who called me diseased now reads stories to kids who look just like me?" She smiled. "I hugged her today. I know you're probably up there saying I told you so, but it felt right. It felt like something you would have done." Marcus finally spoke. "Angela, baby, I wish you could have seen her today, our girl, up on that stage speaking to thousands of people, telling them about building instead of burning. She has your heart, your courage, your impossible belief that people can be better than their worst moments." His voice cracked. "I miss you every day, every single day, but I feel you in everything we do. In Maya's laugh, in her stubbornness, in the way she sees the world not as it is, but as it could be." He touched the headstone gently. "Thank you for teaching me how to love, how to forgive, how to build. I'm still learning. Every day I'm still learning. But I think I'm getting better. I think we're getting better." Maya took his hand. "We're going to be okay, Mama," she said. "Daddy and me. We're going to keep building. For you, for us, for everyone who needs someone to believe in them." They sat together until the stars came out, father and daughter holding on to each other, and the memory of a woman who had taught them both that love was the only thing worth building. 2 years later, Maya Thompson won the National Science Fair with her cancer detection AI. The program was acquired by a major medical research company and implemented in hospitals across the country. Within 5 years, early detection rates for ovarian cancer increased by 47%. Marcus Thompson's company continued to grow. He expanded into civilian applications, education technology, and community development. The Marcus and Angela Thompson Foundation became the largest private funder of STEM education for underprivileged youth in America. The Sterlings kept every promise they made. Catherine Sterling ran the East Side Youth Development Center until her death at 83. Her funeral was attended by hundreds of children whose lives she had touched. Children who called her Grandma Catherine, who knew nothing of galas or society pages, only that she showed up every single day. Richard Sterling transformed Sterling Tech into the most diverse company in the defense industry. The Angela Thompson Scholarship Program sent over 1,000 young black engineers to college in its first decade. He never forgot the lesson he learned, that the measure of a company isn't its profits, but its people. Senator Sterling retired after 3 terms with a legacy defined not by his early career, but by the legislation he passed in his final years. The Workplace Dignity Act was called the most significant civil rights law in a generation. He spent his remaining years mentoring young politicians, teaching them that power was worthless if not used to lift others up. And Vanessa Sterling never stopped volunteering. She married a civil rights attorney she met at the community center. Their daughter was named Angela. Their son was named Marcus. She told their story to every child she mentored, how she had been cruel, how she had been wrong, how a man in a cheap suit taught her the meaning of grace. But the most important story was Maya's. At 32 years old, Dr. Maya Thompson stood on the stage of the World Health Assembly in Geneva, accepting the humanitarian award for her cancer detection technology. "When I was 12 years old," she began, "a woman called me diseased because of the color of my skin. That same night, my father taught me the most important lesson of my life. He told me that power isn't about crushing people who hurt you. It's about building a world where no one has to hurt alone." She held up the award. "This isn't mine. This belongs to my mother, Angela Thompson, who died believing that every life was worth saving. This belongs to my father, Marcus Thompson, who showed me that forgiveness isn't weakness, it's the ultimate strength. And this belongs to every child who's ever stood in a room feeling like they don't belong." She looked at the camera with the same steady gaze her father had shown in that ballroom 20 years earlier. "You belong. Wherever you are. Whoever you are. You belong. And if anyone ever makes you feel otherwise, remember this. The people who try to make you small are fighting their own battles you can't see. The people who try to tear you down are building prisons of their own making. Your job isn't to fight them. Your job is to build something so beautiful that they can't help but want to be part of it." She smiled. "That's what Thompsons do. We build." The applause lasted 7 minutes, somewhere in Oakland. Marcus Thompson watched his daughter on television, tears streaming down his face. Angela's wedding ring still on his finger after all these years. "She did it, baby," he whispered to the empty room. "Our girl did it." And somewhere beyond the reach of cameras and awards and standing ovations, Angela Thompson smiled, because she had always known. She had always known that the truest power wasn't revenge or wealth or status. It was the quiet strength to believe in people when they didn't believe in themselves. To build when others wanted to burn. To see the possibility of redemption in even the darkest human heart. That was Angela's gift to the world. And through Marcus, through Maya, through every life they touched, that gift would never stop giving. Because some things are stronger than hatred. Some things are stronger than cruelty. Some things are stronger than all the darkness in the human heart. And the strongest thing of all is love that refuses to let go.